Hey YouTube, welcome to the weekend. I'm back. I know it's been a while since I've done a video. It's been a long time actually, and a lot has happened. So, in an attempt to cover like all of the pretty relevant stuff, this might be a longer video. My thought is that I keep saying I'm going to make more videos, and I have some content saved for later to just discuss, and I never come back to make the video. So like that news just doesn't get touched. And I know I'm not like anybody's primary source of news, but it does feel like, uh, I guess, something that just nags at me, like it's like uncompleted task or something something I haven't talked about. Um, so in an attempt to just cover like a lot of the relevant stuff, this might be a longer video, so strap yourself in. Um, yeah, it was it is. So like first things first, the ETH merge has successfully been completed. A day a lot of us thought would never come, and that has a lot of ramifications through the entire space that I think we're going to start seeing for a long time. First and foremost, like the price, it seemed to have been a buy the rumor, sell the news event because the price took a drastic dump after the successful completion of the merge with like very few hiccups, which was, to be honest, like I knew was coming. Like as much as you could know something, I knew was coming. I should have shorted it or something. I don't normally short things. I should have shorted this because it was such a obvious thing to me. I just paid attention to the space, and like I know a lot of people, just like every other thing that happens with Ethereum, a lot of people seem to misunderstand what the merge even was. Just like EIP 1559, people thought, gas fees, performance, whatever, blah 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 blah. And really, the merge doesn't do like any of this. It just switches from proof of work to proof of stake, primarily. And so nobody else should really realize any difference other than now that it's proof of stake, not proof of work. And so the people getting rewarded are the stakers. So yeah, a lot of people, the gas fees are pretty much still the same. People talk about, I hate hearing this ultrasound money narrative, like, oh gosh, now we're so deflationary, blah, blah, blah. They've been saying that since EIP 1559, and really it's only been deflationary for like half a second. Even if it does become deflationary, like, I don't know, I don't even understand, like, do you really want your money to disappear to like zero? Like, I actually don't understand this ultrasound narrative. But yeah, just because it's deflationary. But so yeah, buy the rumor, sell the news. So in that same vein, GPU miners like myself, maybe some of you, are now in a really bad situation trying to figure out what to mine with your GPUs. And the answer right now seems to be nothing. There's a handful of other altcoins that are proof of work, and are not like dominated by ASICs, so they're GPU mineable. And there was so much hash power on Ethereum that even spread out to all these other coins, just the profitability is like, you're making like negative 30 cents a day on some of these coins just because of the power cost. Like that might not be a problem for you if you have free power, or if you really have like a long-term conviction that like whatever you're mining is gonna 1000x or whatever in the future, and you're just gonna like slowly dollar cost average at a loss. But if you're losing money and energy with the token, it just would make more sense to just take whatever you would spend in electricity and buy that much of the token outright, if you really believe in it that much, rather than mining it and putting the wear on your hardware, spending the money in electricity. So yeah, I had briefly touched on Flux in some of my other videos, and I thought Flux was going to be one of a really good prospects going forward. and it's still not profitable right now. Maybe at some point in the future it will be. I do have some rigs mining at a loss right now. I know I just said it doesn't make sense, but some of the pools have contests, or I don't know, like weekly draws, like you might be able to win flux or something. And I know the chances of that are like astronomically low because everyone moved all their workers to it. But hey, you got to play to win, right? And there's loyalty rewards on some of them. So like if you have like on flux pools, if your miner has like a 90-some% uptime, you get a little bit extra flux. It's still not enough to make it worthwhile. So whatever. I just honestly, I like mining. It's fun to me. So I'm doing it, but that's not financial advice. In fact, nothing in this video is financial advice. Do your own research. Do your own due diligence. This is entertainment purposes only. Moving on. So Ethereum, and mess everything up. Big news with helium too. Still in the helium space. I know a lot of people have written it off. I myself have come very close to writing it off. Just a lot of the moves that the team has been making seem to be questionable. The proposal to switch to Solana has passed, so that will be happening. It will be Solana. I'm not sure exactly what the time frame is. They announced a mobile phone that will be using Solana and helium, which honestly that actually looks kind of cool. I might try to get one when it comes out because it's just one of those cool steps towards the future of integrating all of this stuff into like actual life experience. And I think this is probably all part of their plan because this cell phone, this 5G, they've just also announced a partnership with T-Mobile, which is pretty huge. It's like the first kind of partnership of its kind ever. Major cellular network is pairing with this cryptocurrency chain in order to offload some of the 5G data that it can't support in areas that don't have coverage. So it's pretty huge. Like it's not the 5G network is not going to sustain its own mobile service. It's thought of as like an addition to an actual cellular service. So with that mentality, I think it's definitely possible to be very successful for both of the companies involved because I think it's kind of like a win-win symbiosis. So hopefully it works out because I do have a 5G hotspot. To be honest with you, I don't think it's not in a great area for data transfer. I have the indoor version, which doesn't cover a very large distance. I mean, I'd be lucky to get it across the street, which is like basically just a parking lot. So I don't think I'm gonna get much rewards from data transfer, but currently you're being rewarded just for having a heartbeat on the network. So I have been getting a lot of mobile tokens. At some point, maybe they'll be usable. I'm kind of just sitting on a whole bunch of them. So who knows? Maybe it'll pay off. Maybe it won't. There was another thing with helium too. The price tanking so drastically lately supposedly had, I guess a little bit to do with a lot of their decisions being announced, but also Binance made like a giant multi-million-dollar whoopsie where, speaking of the mobile tokens, somebody was able to transfer a whole bunch of these mobile tokens to Binance, which treated them as one-to-one with helium, which is not the case. I think it's like 1,000 to 1 or something like that. And they just started selling like millions of dollars of helium once they got it. Which was tanking the price, like as you can see. So it's possible that the price action we're seeing now, and once you start taking the price, it clicks off a whole bunch of other sell algorithms and everything, and people are just going to start dumping coins as they panic. But so it's possible that the price action we're seeing now is kind of like artificial or like some sort of a whoopsie, which is I don't know. We'll see if helium recovers. The broader market in general is still in trouble, um, which I will talk about a little bit later in the video. I do want to cover two other things because I don't talk about them that much, but there is stuff happening in the space. One being the deeper mining made a switch to from their like Genesis and whatever staking methods to what they're calling easy mining, which basically is just a crappier version of whatever they had before. Like there's a whole bunch you could get into, and basically nobody's happy about it. And this is like a reoccurring theme with startup projects. It's like they always have this crazy, really good strategy to attract investors, really early investors that like will give very good returns, and people start like projecting out like, oh, I can get this for like a year and break even or whatever, and it's kind of like a bait and switch where they're like, it's unsustainable, so they at some point have to switch, especially in a bear market, have to switch to some other more sustainable method that just ticks everyone off. And you just see this happen over and over and over again with all these projects, and like some of them are going to be successful because that's what they need to get going, and some of them are not going to be successful because they're going to lose their entire base. So we'll see what happens with Deeper. I'm still kind of just running it as it's supposedly a VPN, so we'll see what happens there. Gods Unchained is another thing that I don't talk about that much, but I actually do play consistently on like a daily basis, and I actually really enjoy the game. I've talked about it before, where like I used to play Magic the Gathering, so like trading card games for me in general are kind of cool. I enjoy playing the game and collecting the cards, and they've actually had some sort of partnership with GameStop lately, which is it's kind of a whole meme action thing with their Gods Unchained token, and so it's possible that some sort of partnership there can help them both. And they did see a pretty good pump recently within the past week or two. I forget when. Not enough to be recovered by any means, but along with everything else, they're kind of sideways and down, or really, really down. But it is a fun game, Gods Unchained, if you enjoy that kind of stuff. And I'm still kind of on the fence about how I actually feel about having it based as a NFT-based game. If you play Magic cards, if you buy cards, if you buy physical cards, you buy the card, it's yours, you play with it. The card's never going to change. One of the things I'm not sure I like about an NFT-based game with Gods Unchained is that in an attempt to balance the game as they release new cards or find bugs or imbalances in the game, they change the cards a lot. So let's say you buy a card thinking, oh, this is really OP, this is good, like I'm gonna like buy this card, this $100 card, $500 card, I'm gonna win all these games, and then they realize it's overpowered and they nerf it and they change it to something that you're not even interested in having in your deck at all. I think that's a very dangerous road, because I understand, like on one hand, like you want a balanced game, you don't want people to just buy their way into winning every game. You do want to have powerful cards to be coveted, though, right? Like you do want there to be a reason to go play or buy these cards that are powerful enough to be an advantage, but not so powerful that they need to be nerfed. So it's a fine line between purchasing something that's like immutable, unchangeable, like physical in your hand, and something that the game can just change. And like I said, they change a lot. I've had cards that I don't even recognize. They're so different. Like every aspect of the card can change. Basically just the name is the same. Like even so much as like it's used in like a death deck or like and it can even be changed to like a neutral card or a magic deck card. Like everything about this card can change, and so that's like it's just really not an incentive to buy the cards. So I find I'm really on the fence about that. Like I get needing to balance the game and keeping it playable and not broken, but at the same time you're messing also with I guess the collection aspect of a collectible card game. Like I'm don't have any incentive to collect cards. So yeah, that's my scatterbrained thought on it. Let me know if you guys have any thoughts on any of the stuff I'm talking about. Leave me a comment, a like, subscribe to the channel. I am still trying to incentivize some more subscribers. I would like to do another giveaway. My subscriber count has basically stalled, so I'm not terribly worried about what or when or how or why that's going to happen at some point. But if I get up to, I forget what my next target was. Let's say it was 500. I don't know, 200. I don't know. Leave me a comment if you have thoughts or comments on that. So on to more of a macro topic. The Fed has just announced that they're doing a 75 point hike for interest rates, which was sort of expected. It doesn't seem like they're going to pivot at any point soon. So there might even be another 75 point hike coming, that would be a pretty aggressive stance for the Fed, and they're playing a game between trying to get inflation under control and also trying not to crash the economy at the same time. And a lot of people think it's a game they can't win, and they're just talking out of the side of their mouth while they, prepare the life rafts. I have, conflicting thoughts about this. Like, I do think the system's broken. I think it will break at some point. I think it's like a mathematical certainty. At the same time, you'd be surprised how long things can get dragged out. What's the saying? The markets can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. So I'm not exactly placing any bets on what, when, or how. But it is kind of like a let's just wait and see kind of thing, which is what I've been saying for a long time now. I'm basically bearish right now with like a hesitant, like I don't know what's happening, but I'm not like super excited about any recovery happening anytime soon. A lot of people are saying we're basically in a recession. A lot of other people are trying to say we're not. People have their own beliefs on what that is, because apparently we're redefining all these terms all the time, what classically a recession has been defined as. But I also wanted to point out, I made a video, I made maybe I think 2 videos about a topic that I found really interesting at the time, maybe like 6 months ago, something like that, maybe a little longer. And it probably didn't get much attention because it's one of those like more abstract macroeconomic concepts. But the dollar milkshake theory is getting a lot more attention now. People are like kind of chewing it, thinking about it a little bit more. Like maybe this is actually something that's playing out right now. And basically, the dollar milkshake theory is something that, gosh, I'm actually blanking on who came up with it now. Sorry, Google it. He's Brett something. Brett John. I don't know. Somebody, whoever came up with it, came up with it years ago. I think he admitted that he was wrong on what the timing of it was, but probably still thinks he's right on how things are going to play out. And basically, the dollar milkshake theory is that every other currency is going to lose strength compared to the dollar, and the dollar is going to suck all of the liquidity out of the markets. And it sounds good to have a strong U.S. dollar, but it's actually can lead to a lot of problems to have a dollar that's too strong. And so if you're interested in like the details of that, like Google it, like look up the dollar milkshake theory. I'm not gonna make a long video even longer, but it looks like it's playing out like before our eyes right now. If you pay attention to the Dixie, which is a measure of the strength of the dollar, it's going on an absolute tear. It is it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. And historically, especially for the Bitcoin price, as the strength of the dollar goes up, Bitcoin will go down. People, if there's a strong dollar, people are going to be very risk off or risk adverse for their investments, and so they basically hoard cash. Even in this inflationary environment, a strong dollar is going to be, they're going to be more risk adverse. And so I'm going to be paying attention to that going forward, probably a little bit more. Maybe I'll do another video. Let me know, dollar milkshake theory, something you guys want to pay more attention to or not. It's actually very worrying for me, but it is what it is. You can't. The world is going to crash and burn. So be prepared, guys. The one thing I can guarantee is that the markets are going to go up, down, or sideways. But with that being said, maybe another video tomorrow because my weekends don't entail much.